fat and they pocket. So many hustle for the cash.
Well, hello, hello, hello. God bless you, community family, and welcome to Gang Talk with Sister Herron and Skip Townsend. We come here every Thursday to have this very important conversation with our community family because if you're paying attention, you know it's family business. Okay? Excuse me. I'm trying to work with my sound, make sure you can hear us. So God bless you once again and welcome to this very important hour. And in the beginning, we always like to thank our faithful and loyal co-host, Skip Townsend. Very busy man, but gives us his time every Thursday for a long time, for quite a few years, trying to help us spread this message, not only on the air, but in the work that he does. So God bless you, Skip.
Well, thank you, Sister Herron. As always, I give honor and praise to God, and the reason I'm able to do this is because of God. I'm just truly grateful for it, and it's God's work, and I am a vessel, a vehicle that He uses.
Yes.
So I'm just truly grateful to be here, and blessed to be with this illustrious panel we have today.
Yes. Well, we have some illustrious people that come here, and let's thank our guests from the last time that we were live. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, the little people.
The little people.
Right.
Yeah, more specific, your little people.
Little people. And Kawisi.
Yes. And
Kawisi Neblet, who is the son of freedom singer, freedom fighter Charles Neblet, who fought for black people to be able to vote and did a lot of wonderful things. And I hope to be as great as him. So then my children were joined with his child. So, that was a great show. And then really what Carter said. Do you remember what Carter said?
I listened to the show again. They were precious.
Carter said that the reason we had slaves was because the white people had to go get the black people and teach them how to live and to work and to pray and all that good stuff because they didn't know how.
He didn't say all that, but he said.
Well, he said it in the car.
He said it in the car. What he said on the air was that we weren't smart.
Right.
Yes, and that's really what they're teaching him, and we talked about that on the show because him and Cody had a different teaching about who discovered America and was it good or bad, and Carter is on the Columbus side of the teaching, and Cody's on the Africans were here first side. So two dynamic polar opposites, and my thing was that Columbus stumbled on the country because he was lost.
Right.
Now, that's the truth. And he certainly wasn't a friend to the original people with all the disease and hate and murder that he brought with him, rape, all kinds of horrors that we really shouldn't acknowledge Columbus Day at all.
Right.
And out of respect for the original people whose land we're living on, we really need to acknowledge their history.
Right.
Yeah. Don't need Columbus Day anymore.
Right.
He's not anybody that, he discovered America for Europe.
Right.
Yeah, not for the original people. It's like, So we joke about that, and we joke about the pilgrims at Plymouth Rock breaking bread with the Indians only to have them come and kill the Indians and take their home. So, we joke about that, but it's not funny. And the truth is, along the way, they stole our people and had us come over here and free labor and build a country for them. So this is a show that's brutally honest about the black history, black community, black people in this country. And so we're very committed to it because we love our people. That's why we're here. We respect the fact that we have survival in us. Whatever they brought against us, we've managed to get around it and still be here. So it's a gift from God that people don't understand why we're still here. But we are. So once again, thank you, Skip, for being our co-host, and thank those precious children for coming a few weeks ago. Last week we reran, because it was Black History Month, we reran the show from last year with John Mack and Cecil Murray as they opened Black History for us. And that was a good show, too. So not only did I listen to the show with the kids again, I listened to the show with Cecil and John as well, and that was very funny and fun and very informative. And that's what I like about this hour is that we really get to talk our truth. So we're going to get started because we always have special guests. And we're going to start with the ladies first because this is her first time, not her first time on Gang Talk, but first time on this Gang Talk. So introduce yourself, Misty.
My name is Donna Graham.
Speak into the microphone so I can hear you, honey.
And she's trying to have a sexy voice. Hey, oh.
I know.
Who is that?
Act like he was out in the parking lot when we were just a minute ago. Okay.
Let me do this. My name is Donna Graham. Who is that?
In case you
Who
watching.
is that? In case you're watching, yeah.
Okay, my name is Donna Graham, a.k.a. Cheetah.
That's right. And you're from?
I'm from East Coast Cute 102. I also have an organization called It's Time for Real Change Girls and Gangs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she was asking you about.
Yeah.
Girls and gangs, you just put your fingers up like you keep one over
I be talking with my hands all the time.
But that's all right because, I got a neighborhood too, but I don't claim it because, it could be tricky.
Yeah.
Make people mad. We're not here to make anybody mad. And it's just a blessing to have you here. And this,
You hit your microphone.
I know I hit my microphone all the time. I get excited. Come on.
All right, I'm Marcus Woods, and I'm here because my struggle is my strength. And I just came to, I want to be part of the dialogue. I want to stay out the way. This is my way to stay out the way. So I get to learn from Skip and Miss Herron all the time. Even Cheetah, when she be trying to get on me a little bit on the low.
Well, let me tell you, when you're not here, we talk about you anyway.
Yeah,
You might as well be here. So you might as well be here.
I'll be looking. I see it.
Yeah.
So you might as well come so we can talk about you in front of you.
Yeah, that's why I come, so I can listen to y'all talk about me and learn some stuff.
And that's all right because you're here to learn because we're in a learning curve now. We're coming out of a dark hole that costs us a lot, too much. And so coming out of it is the best gift we can give ourselves. And Cheetah, I just want to welcome you to this forum because you got a lot to say. You got a lot of stuff you're doing, and your focus is on the women's side of this.
Yes. And really, I came up trying to be like Skip. Because, Skip, I'm going to tell you the truth. We went to school together.
Did you?
And, we graduated.
She ain't talking about elementary school, y'all.
Cal State University.
Okay.
And he was so persistent in being this great person that want to save lives. And when he took off, he just took off.
Mm-hmm.
And he ain't never turned around.
There it
He's
is.
been straight out there doing the work. I have to give it to you, brother. I'm very proud of you. And, yes, I wanted to walk in the shoes that he walked in because he did it so well.
Yes.
And kept doing it and still rising and still helping people. And that's what I want to be.
Yes.
I do work with young women, sex trafficking really hard right now.
Yes.
And it's bad. Black History Month last Wednesday, I was talking about Harriet Tubman because our kids don't know our history.
No.
Right.
She brought back the slaves that they were raping. She was buying them back from them to save them for them not getting raped by these white men.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know the history, the struggle that people have went through. Right. And we still going on, and it's still going on today.
Yes.
Even worse to me. I mean, it's just like every time you turn around, somebody's touching somebody they don't have no business touching.
Oh, my God. There's been such an increase in that. And the sad thing is the double standard in the justice system that some people get to
Oh, my God.
molest babies and, get a slap on the wrist.
Walk away, get with nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Rape unconscious women, get a slap on the wrist, have the judge say, well, I just feel the prison would be too hard on this young man.
That's a Stanford University person versus the other guy who, African-American, who was wrongfully convicted and got a life sentence. I think he did 5 years and now still can't get in the NFL when he was on his way to the NFL.
You're talking about the young man that was accused of rape in Long Beach, and I wish I could remember.
And she recanted her story.
Yes,
yes. I'm bad with that.
After she got a over $1 million settlement from the university,
Right.
the school. I'm not sure it was university,
Yeah,
but
she
the
ain't gave
school.
that money
She
back.
she sued and got a paycheck out of that, and that young man went to prison for at least 5 years,
Right.
and then she recanted that he didn't actually.
You know what's really bad is going to jail and prison with a baby case or a rape case. You know, it's not that macho image. You can't walk around with your shoulders up, right? So I'm sure he probably had some fighting to do. He had some explaining to do.
Yes.
As he hit, different modules in jail and then different, yards.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had to go through some challenges
Yes.
to prove that he wasn't that person.
Yes.
And it's not easy.
Some people didn't want to hear it,
Right.
So they just probably,
Well,
all focused towards him and didn't even listen to the fact that he didn't do it.
Right.
So he
No.
had a lot of,
they didn't believe him, and that's often the case. And when you're a black defendant, you're just automatically guilty. You're not assumed innocent till proven guilty. You're guilty till you can prove you're innocent.
Right.
That's the way it works for our ethnicity. That's the generic truth of how that happens. And so we don't have the equal justice
We
that
don't.
others
We
have.
really don't. And,
Yeah,
and
we really
Hawthorne, they a piece of work. They don't care. If you don't want to work with them and set people up for them, they don't care about what happened to your child. And they'll tell you, oh, we can't do nothing because we don't have no evidence. Well, why is a little girl in counseling? And why are you guys taking care of her, moved her out of the area to make sure she was safe if this person didn't touch this child?
Right.
So, like he told me, he said, well, ain't nothing we could do. The brother had left town for a couple of months. And he came back, oh, who's saying this about me? You know who. A 7-year-old is not going to lie on you.
Right. Right.
And I don't believe no 7-year-old got that much sense to sit up and say she didn't want to come tell her grandmother because she was scared that something was going to happen to me. You know what I mean? Don't worry about me. I'm grown. I'm worried about you. Are you going to come out of that shell?
Right.
You know, she don't want to hear the name, period. She goes into a panic mode.
Traumatized.
Yeah,
Traumatized.
and it's sad that they won't, guys that been in jail, they know how to beat the system. They know what to do to move, how to move, and not to get caught.
Some of them do.
But then at the end, God gonna bless them, no.
Yeah.
And I hope to be living to see the outcome because they getting away with murder out here.
These are troubling times. There's no question about it. And troubling from the top of the hill.
Yes.
So if it's trouble at the top of the hill,
No, it's
what
down
do you
here with
expect
us.
down here in the valley, in the bottom, with all of us that are struggling just to make ends meet? And so people are fractured right now. They don't know the Hispanic community is tense. They don't know the Muslim community is tense.
Everybody tense.
But you know what, though, sister? It's something you said when we were talking about Christopher Columbus, and you talked about the indigenous peoples, the
Yeah.
people who are original people to this land, and how they have been just pretty much demolished,
Yes.
and their history isn't known.
Right.
And so Cheetah's talking about Harriet Tubman and the things that have happened. But now look at the numbers of us. We are at 6% here in Los Angeles,
Yes.
and a lot of people don't know our history. So when there are other movements that are going on right now, like whether it's the immigration, Know Your Rights movement, or the things that are going on, the movement with the Muslims, I have to say, as you said in the opening, I love my people,
Yes.
and I want to stick to my agenda.
Yes.
I don't want to say that that's not important, but that is not my agenda, and I don't want to be distracted from my people to stand with I'm Muslim. I don't want to just stand, I don't want to change my agenda to stand with the Muslims or the immigration and then take away. Marcus was wrongly convicted.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
To take away from people who are close to us right now, who are suffering through recurring trauma is consistent. And when I say, well, hold on a second, Marcus, because I don't know how he got help. But hold on, right now, I got to talk to my El Salvadorian people because they scared that they're going to get their door knocked in.
Yeah.
So am I going to keep ignoring my people to help others? Black people are the only people on this earth that are willing to help and give of themselves to help other people.
Other people.
And then turn around and say, hold on. to our own people. And we had LAPD at Ceasefire, and I was facilitating this about 4 years ago. And Otho said, and I was rushing everybody like, wait, hold on, I'm not going to let you throw rocks. They were nice enough to come. And Otho said to me, Skip, it's like we having dinner, and you brought the nice plates out for our guests. He says, like you done brought the nice plates and silverware out for our guests, but when they leave, we eat on paper.
Yes.
And we eat, you know.
Yes.
So I was like, what are you calling me, Otho? I'm trying to say. But it resonated in my mind that, you know, are we treating, or am I treating other people better than I treat my own people?
That's a good question, especially now, because this is our history. We're familiar with this territory. Marcus's story, they took him at 17 for something he didn't do and took 17 years of his life from him locked up. And he didn't get to say, hey, look, I'm not guilty. Where's my fair trial? Where's my equity in the justice system? And now today, Hispanics and Muslims are finding out what that feels like. So their natural inclination is to look at us and say, well, what did you do?
Right.
You see, our inclination is we don't know what to tell you. See, because we're still trying to figure out what to do for ourselves.
So we haven't healed. We
In
haven't had that
2017.
healing process.
Right.
Has there been a healing process for you, Marcus?
No.
No, I'm still healing every day. Every day, I you know, like today, this morning, I went to my psych this morning, and I kind of learned something about myself. And the question came up was, you know, if I was ready to, you know, do all the stuff that I'm getting into right now. And I had to think, because I'm going through all the stuff that I'm going through within my own life, but I'm still trying to help people. You know, and you know, it's mostly somebody's kid.
Yes.
You know, so whether or not I see somebody's kid out there, you know, they might be out there fighting or something. You know, I walk over there and, you know, try to make a joke out of it to get them to stop first. You know, but you know, at the same time, I'm always trying to, you know, make something better for somebody's kid. So, I think that's what my main thing is, because I went through that prison time, and I don't want to see nobody child in prison. So that's my main thing. You know, every day, every time I see somebody, you know, child out there doing something, you know, they might not supposed to be doing. But I actually do say something about it to them. So it's a lot of little youngsters out there that know my face, and they, you know, like, remember when I was, you know, we was younger, we had gang. The you know, they used to come through, the gang people.
Gang task. Yeah. They did.
The tag force. So when I went to Drew, and you know, we can be ditching. You know, maybe we might be walking up Firestone or something. My grandmother stayed on 90th and Zamora, so I used to ditch all the time. I walk up Zamora, you know, going towards my grandmother's house, and they'll just swoop up on us. So the first thing you do is run. So that's what I said that to say, you know, basically sometimes when the little kids see me, they're going the other way. Oh, no, here come Marcus, you know, because, you know, I don't really, you know, I don't allow them to do nothing disrespectful to nobody grown, you know. So here come Marcus, we can't do all that, you know. So I think it makes me feel good, you know, seeing that, because I went through the same thing, and I used to be disrespectful. So I don't want to see nobody kid in jail. That's mainly, you know, how I heal. You know, I'm glad you said that, because talking about the school system, do you know at some point what they did is they went to year-round school and they put the children on different tracks. Yep.
Yes,
so then now I don't know, people, why aren't you in school? Oh, I'm off track.
I'm off track.
And like, well, what do you mean? And so everybody went off track, and then you see what happened. The dropout rate rose to like 54, 56%. And so now they want to put them back on track. They should try to mask it by busing you out to other schools, out Hollywood, all this, you know, to try to make it look good.
The dropout rate increased with the population growth, okay? And I'm really not trying to put the spotlight on the migration, but the migration had a great impact on the dropout of African-American kids. You see, because as a migration came and the flood of new kids, there was a language barrier. And the school board thought it was more important to teach Hispanics English than to teach black kids English, how to spell. You see, and so way back, in the beginning of those days when it was troubling and we were just overwhelmed. That's a nice political word that I could say. Overwhelmed with their presence and flooded the schools and flooded the workforce. We kind of got pushed over here because their circumstances became the priority.
Right.
And in the workplace, they posted summer jobs in front of my house for teenagers, bilingual required. It's like, well, how does Marcus get a job at 17? He only speaks English and hasn't gotten the necessary skill set out of his own school to be effective. And, we just kind of got shoved under that kind of, I don't even know what to call it. It was just overwhelming, and I saw the flood of classroom space taken, and I'm not condemning the kids, it's just what it was. What happened to us, we didn't get to learn another language. They were taught your language. Right. You didn't get to learn math because they were teaching language, okay? And our schools were failing. They were failing our kids, and our kids got discouraged. They got overwhelmed, and it's like, well, where's my place? I know. I'll go sit on the corner with my friends. We'll smoke a blunt, turn up a 40-ounce, and just coast through the day. And so even the school board finally recognized that they weren't fulfilling their obligation, and they came up with that certificate of completion. You remember that?
Yeah.
You were locked up, baby. You don't remember that.
I just remember a certificate of completion. Might not be the same one.
It probably is. Yeah.
It's the same. Yeah. So in other words, if I continue to go to school, even though I haven't learned anything.
Haven't learned anything.
Well, you did what we asked you to do, so we're going to give you a certificate of completion.
Yeah. And that's what they did. They gave them a certificate of completion to get them out, not a diploma.
They called it No Child Left Behind. So No Child Left Behind means that you're going to graduate, you're going to keep moving anyway. We're not going to leave you behind. But suppose that I can't learn and grow, develop the same way everybody else can. There's this cartoon I saw that was a drawn cartoon that had a cheetah, a squirrel, a dog, an elephant, and an alligator. And they had a tree right there. And it said that they're going to judge them and measure them by who could climb the tree the fastest. So that's like our school system. Yeah. If you have this one test, I mean, that alligator can't climb that tree. The elephant can't climb that tree like that squirrel and that cheetah. Matter of fact, let the squirrel go first and the cheetah behind him. I bet that squirrel hurry up and get up that tree.
Yes.
But if you put the alligator in the water, he can outdo the rest of them.
That's right.
So, but when we have this one standard, and that's the one thing I hate about, something that I'm doing right now that I hate is I'm helping people when they get out of prison. I'm helping them to act the way society wants them to act.
Right.
I don't want them to be themselves. I want to stop that, and this is the manner, this is the border of how you will and will not act so that you can get a good job and go to work for these good people who will hire you. I feel like I'm Steven from Django. Because where's your personality, your creativity?
Right.
Why can't, why do I have to emulate what society has set in place? And this is the same society that robbed and raped those people and took their land and robbed and raped our people and brought us here. And this is the way that they have measured. This is the tree they want us to climb. Well, I'm an alligator.
There it is.
I can't climb that tree you want me to climb.
Yeah.
The problem is they claim the tree. The tree belongs to them. So if you want any fruit from the tree, you're going to have to do it the way they tell you to. That's what control is. That's how you get racism. You have to control in order to be a racist. You see, and this is why Paul Laurence Dunbar wrote that poem way back in the 1909, somewhere way back then, called The Mask.
I wasn't even born back then.
How old was you back then, sister? No, I got jokes. Go ahead. I know you wasn't born yet.
Well, I have been known to ride in a covered wagon or two. It's all right. And I ain't mad. I'm just glad that I'm still here and in my right mind a little bit. I got a little bit of my right mind left because they tried to take it all.
Yes.
Okay. But he wrote that poem, The Mask, which describes exactly what you just said, Skip. Exactly. And my mother said it this way. You have your work face that meets the requirements on that job, and when you come home, you have your home face. That's the ebonics. That's the party girl. That's the, my thing, my 40 ounce, my blunt.
Right.
But don't get that confused with that work face.
Right.
Okay, and that's what Dunbar was talking about. I'm up here operating this elevator. I'm a black poet. They don't believe black poets exist. I'm a fluke. You see, but as he was taking them up and down in the elevator, he was writing this kind of poetry. And at a time when black men, you don't know nothing about poetry. You see, but he was smart enough to write that poem about the mask that describes exactly what Skip was just talking about. You have to put on that mask to satisfy that requirement. Then when you're done with that time over there, then you get to come home and take it off and be you. That's what my mother was saying. You got your work face and you got your home face. And this is what black folks have been forced to live. You see, even Hispanics, you have to live in their world. This is their world. They claimed it. They took it. Right. They own it. That guy on the top of the hill in the White House right now, come on, he brought in all his friends.
Yes, he did.
Where's the government?
Can I say something nice about Donald Duck? Donald.
Donald Duck.
I do want to say something nice that today is March 2nd. And March 2nd in 2008, Jamil Shaw Jr. was walking home.
Yes.
He's on the phone with his girlfriend. People say, don't say it was a girlfriend because he really got another girlfriend. But he's on the phone with the girl, and he said, this dude is walking up. I don't know what he wants. And then she heard, pow. So he lost his life to a guy who was brought over here as a child.
Yep.
And he had just got released from the county jail.
Yep.
And because this is a sanctuary city, and LAPD and LA County Sheriff does not cooperate with ICE, if ICE does not come get the individuals prior to their release, then they just going to let them go. And this guy had only been out less than 24 hours, and he killed Jamil Shaw Jr. So I just want to take the time to say that I do not like Donald Trump, but I have much respect for Mrs. Shaw, even though they're not married anymore, because she was serving in Iraq. And also for Jamil Sr., because he is not only a good father, he's a good person.
Yes.
And he really raised his son to do right.
Yes,
his son was a part of my class, and I would have class from 6 to 8, and he would say, man, I got to go. My father's on my bumper.
Right.
And I was like, well, you're not one of the worst anyway.
Right.
He was a good child, so
he was.
I just want to say that to Donald Trump. He has extended his arm out to Jamil Shaw, and he's very.
To be fair, Jamil was targeted. I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, he was lost. Oh, it was happenstance." No, it wasn't. That was a directive from the gang in prison. He was coming home. The man that killed Jamil Jr. was coming home. He was being released. They sent him over there to execute Jamil. That was a gang. That was a local gang that wanted to send a message to the black community by killing Jamil because Jamil was recognized. He had a future. He had a mom and dad. Jamil Sr. had worked and kept his son in football and sports to keep him safe, to give him a future. Jamil Jr. had scholarships on the table, schools looking to recruit him, and that local gang sent him to execute Jamil, to send the local gang, black gang in that neighborhood a message, okay? And the fact is, they need to talk about how he was laying in wait all day, looking for him, coming back, looking for him, waiting, coming back, looking for him.
People don't hear that. They don't hear the truth.
We're going to finish after the break. Is it break time now? Okay, well, cue the music.
Stevie Wonder coming?
Yeah, Stevie, help us, Lord. Help us, Father God, please. We're not going to talk about these, though. Well, God bless you, community family, and welcome back to Gang Talk. I mean, we were having a lively conversation during the break, but I wanted to finish the Jamil Shaw Jr. story because it's very important. You know, the family had invested, as Skip indicated, his mom was serving in the military in Iraq, and Dad's here holding down the family. They had 2 sons, and really trying to establish a future for them. And Jamil, as I said, was executed to send a message to the community family. And what makes it an execution is that his killer laid in wait. He laid in wait. He hung around the neighborhood all day waiting for Jamil to show up. So that wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't like a drive-by. The young man knew the target he was looking for, and he kept coming back until he found him. All right, until Jamil showed up. It's not that he found him. He knew where to look. He was just waiting for Jamil to show up. So that young man, I believe, is facing the death penalty.
Oh no, he's already in there. He's waiting on the death penalty.
Yes.
He's already sentenced Pedro Espinosa.
Right, that's his name, and I don't really want to remember his name, but the point I want to make about the Shaw family is originally, because Skip and I and some of us were over there that day to help them memorialize their son, and the next thing we knew, the immigration zealots had showed up. Yes, the anti-immigration zealots had showed up and consumed the family, where Jamil Sr., his first anger was at the gang that killed his son, rightfully so.
Right.
The immigration community didn't kill his son.
Right.
The gang from that neighborhood killed his son. And so we had him ready, let's go after them and focus on that. And the immigration zealots came in and turned the family around. It's like, well, we want all the illegal immigrants out of the country. No, you want the gang, the murdering thugs in that gang that killed your boy. That's who you want.
Right.
But the zealots weren't having that. We want all the illegals out of the country, and they kind of swallowed the Shaw family that way. So that's a regret because, you know, we may not be happy with the way that thing happened, but there are good people in there.
Do you remember, sister, that there were 2 people, Republicans from Orange County, I don't want to say their names, but 2 people who came and were running for office, came to ceasefire, were a part of it. One of them was a rabbi who was a school teacher. The other one was just a guy, but they were both running for office. And do you know, at that time, they took to us, all of us. Mm-hmm. And if I show you a picture, remind you, Cheetah, I'm sure you remember them. Mm-hmm. But they took to all of us, and that's what they did to Jamil. They wanted to impregnate our brains with their way of thinking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's really being in a position of organizing, community organizing. There are people who want to feed me their way of thinking,
yes,
so that I can take on their agenda will now become mine.
Yes.
That's why I said, even though I have immigrants in my family, and my father married El Salvadorian, and I love him to death. I don't want him to go nowhere. I know they drive bad. That's my stepmama. You know, she drives bad, but I love her, so I don't want to go. But I cannot take on their issues. The LGBT community, I cannot take on their issues.
Right.
The Muslim community that's being targeted because they come from Syria or Afghanistan, I cannot take on your issues because I got to stay focused on mine.
Yes.
And that's what happened around the time Jamil Jr. got killed, is people started coming from everywhere giving us their issues to fight for.
Yes, yes. That was an amazing time that we were struggling with our own needs. kids, and people wanted to attach themselves to us, just like you said. And I know exactly who you're talking about. One of them's the surfing, and the other one's name was Bruce.
Right.
Okay, yeah, because when Bruce ran for...
He was going after Maxine Waters.
Yes, oh my God, and called himself a ceasefire interventionist.
Right, but then Maxine Waters.
Yes,
but
Bruce, you
was
don't
there,
remember that?
She was there. I'm gonna bring up a picture of him so she
Right,
can.
yeah, I got to see.
But listen, but do you remember Maxine Waters, who had not come to ceasefire when she heard and found out?
Yes.
she
She
came in.
came.
I remember that
in
night.
like, well, what's going on?
Yeah, I remember that.
I heard,
So what?
yeah.
I remember that.
Like she banging.
Yeah, oh,
She
yeah.
came in like, what? I heard y'all going against the grain. Like,
Yeah,
like
what-
either this Crip or it ain't Crip. What we doing?
What we doing? Yeah, and I ain't mad at her. See, me and Maxine sat out that speech the other day in front of Congress, and all I was waiting for the news was for somebody from the Democrats to call him a liar. Yeah, somebody holler out liar the same way they did with President Obama. But you know what? We're getting into politics when, Cheetah, we asked you to come here to talk about our not-hit girls.
yeah.
Girls in gangs. And let me ask you this way. You used to be a hardhead yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? And I'm just going to tell you, your daddy was affiliated with the WLCAC. Okay? And your mama was a hard-working mother who loved you and your daddy and all that. So when people say, oh, it's those people over there, we want them to understand that some of those people come from good families.
Yes, I
Okay?
came from a very good family.
Yeah.
I heard your daddy was the leader of the Franklin Squares.
Franklin Square Crips. Skip, I don't know, but they named Franklin Crips, and then he got the housing area over there called Franklin Square. So I never knew it was no Franklin Crips for a long time, and they was like, yeah, the Franklin Crips. I said, the Franklin Crips.
Named
Yes.
after her daddy, and her daddy was doing wonderful things in the community.
Yes, he was.
He
And
was
they started a gang after your daddy was so good. They started a gang after her daddy.
This first time I heard about Franklin Crips, so it's
and
all
I didn't
news.
know, but they over there in Watts. But yeah, my mother and father had very good jobs, and my mother worked at a hospital, Mount Sinai.
Okay.
And my father, he went to jail for embezzlement of his own construction company. So I was going to school. I thought my father was going out of town doing a job. And the kids come to me at school, oh, Cheetah, your daddy in jail. He robbed somebody. I said, what?
What?
Now, I didn't know he was in jail. I had never,
Right.
don't even read the newspaper. Wasn't even with the paper. So they got the newspaper clippings and everything. I'm embarrassed now. Oh, my God. I go in the office and call my mama. Mama, they teasing me about my dad. My dad went to prison. He did 5 years. His construction company was on Florence and San Pedro, right behind that filling station.
Okay.
And he got out, and him and Ted Watkins got together. Ted had a yard company. He was doing yards. And they got together and put their money together, and they started WLCAC. And it was some program just like Skip had. You know, they trained us to learn how to live outside of your house in case of emergency. We was like soldiers in the Army. We did all that, washed our clothes on scrub boards. We went up to Camp Roberts. They trained us up there. If something happened, what are you going to do?
Right.
They had the guys in like Army fatigue clothes. And they was drilling, you know, like they was in the Army. We cleaned the alleys. We walked up and down Central, cleaning alleys, cleaning houses. We did everything. They took us every year up to Big Bear. That was our retreat. We went to Big Bear every year, and they had this big old party with all the employees and their kids. And I want to do the same.
But you know what? That was the old days before
Yeah.
the detour took
Right.
you, took him,
Yes.
took him. You see, and that's the sweet past that you could almost call innocent, because your years were very traumatic.
Yeah, they was.
Okay, and what you were doing was very traumatic.
Yes.
And we have some traumatized young girls that think that they want to go around and be traumatic.
They don't want to, Sister Herron. They don't know what comes with that traumatic.
Yeah.
You know, I've been raped. I was out there getting my money. I wasn't on the block hanging out there getting my money, but I had older men in the industry that I would go see and get my money because I used to sing in nightclubs and stuff. So I was around the money. My grandmother was the biggest black bookie in Watts.
Okay.
My aunt is the one that they killed. They got shot over there, and they took her body. They walked down the aisle, Maxine Waters. They had the horses and carriage. It was an older lady went to church, and they had raped some kids, raped this girl next door and set the house on fire. She was just coming home from Bible study, and they shot her in the head. So
What year was that?
that was in, this ain't been that long ago, at least 15, 20 years, Skip. But it was well known. They took her down the street in a horse and carriage and all that. So, Ted,
I was talking to your brother-in-law the other day, and we were remembering Jamie Finney, 13-year-old killed with the 18-year-old driver, and the Alexander family that was killed in a mistaken identity.
Oh, my God. The Alexander family. So there was one survivor who hid in the closet.
right.
And he's a friend of mine now. And he's all messed up.
Yes.
And what's so crazy is that the guy who's responsible was released from prison about a couple months ago. And what restorative justice is the guy who was released from prison, he kept telling his family he's going to come to second call so we can help him get a job. And I was thinking, how can I have these two intermix with each other because they liable to be in the room at the same time. But it just so happened that the young fellow who went to prison for that, he did not come to second call class. I mean, I really want him to, but I haven't had to put them in a room together. But I really think it would be important. I think the young fella, I think he would be open to it. You know, but he always talks about the hurt and pain of being a survivor and the things that he went through after that. He went to prison. He started doing robberies. He took a bad train.
Yes. Well, that's the kind of impact that it has had on us, and he has every right to be angry.
Right.
He has every right. He's traumatized by it. Absolutely. And folks don't understand that that's what keeps it going. That's what keeps the hate going is you can't get past the pain of what you've been through. You know, and we don't have the right words to tell you how to get past that.
And we don't. I mean, I'm still hurting from the time I grew up and calling yourself a homegirl. I don't have homegirls because the girl that was supposed to be my homegirl, that's why I got stabbed. She was jealous of me because I done moved to West Covina, got a job, took my kids from the ghetto, but I always came back to where I never forgot where I came from.
Right.
So she was so jealous that she wanted to rob me. And she put the other girl up to it. So when I hear, oh, y'all gonna rob me, I put my purse in the car. And I went and asked the girl, you taking orders? You gonna rob me?
Yeah.
So I socked her. The one I should have stopped was my homegirl because you set her up to even want to rob me.
Yeah.
And it's behind somebody dead. We taking up money at a funeral.
Got it. That's him.
Oh, yeah.
Got
Must
it.
be Bruce.
Got him.
Yeah.
You know, that was such an embarrassing, shameful time for us because we were so committed and dedicated, and these guys came to us acting like they were enthusiastic about what we were doing and what can we do to help you. And
Just got a phone.
we have a phone call? Oh, bless your heart. Hello, caller. Can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can. I was just tuned into your radio program here, and I'm very intrigued.
That's great.
Yes.
What intrigued you? Speak more.
Well, I'm a program director for a domestic violence agency in San Bernardino, and I might be watching the wrong show, but I really think that your purpose and what you're doing for the community is great.
Thank you.
What we teach in our agency is how to break the cycle of violence, and with that is education, prevention, and intervention. I wanted to let you ladies know you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And we need more advocacy in the streets.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely. We
I'm a
agree.
domestic violence advocate.
Yes.
I've gone through trauma-informed care, and I speak the same language as you, and thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we're dealing with children as well. We have a 60-day shelter for those of you who are not aware. We've been around for San Bernardino 40 years,
What?
and we help men and women victims.
We need your location down here in Los Angeles.
We need your information as well. I don't know
I
if you
actually
want to
know who this is, so
You know
I
who
can
this is?
actually get her information for you.
You could see her on TV.
No,
You
I
pointed.
actually.
No, he pointed. He said, "I know who it is," and he pointed.
No, I
see
actually
what you
told her
see.
to call so she could,
I'm looking
give
too.
her the right information, man.
Well,
so.
don't do me like that. Don't
But
point.
I
know
just
her,
was pointing that way because of him right there.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great network. I would network with that within the whole county of San Bernardino.
Okay.
And like I said, we help men who are victims of domestic violence. Women think that, or
Right.
society believes that only women are victims.
Right.
No.
We
See,
know.
Got that
Listen,
right.
so I go in the CIW, California Institution for Women, and 80% of the women who are in there for murder are in there for murdering someone they know. And over 50% have murdered their spouse or abusive husband
Yes.
or whatever abuse they were in a relationship, an intimate partner relationship.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, very important. I know that, they can hurt.
And
Oh, yes, most definitely. We're mean. Women can be mean too.
Yes,
Not
they
just
are.
men.
Absolutely. But the most important critical aspect of this is the effect it has on the young children that witness it,
The
Right.
vicarious
Oh,
trauma.
the vicarious trauma.
Right.
And that's what continues the cycle of violence.
Yes.
is
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
Not stopping it within the home. And our services here in San Bernardino are completely free. We have perpetrator classes, victim classes, and parenting classes. And we also help with free restraining orders. And we hope to branch out to LA County as well.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
That's good. Because I'm very serious about that vicarious trauma because the perfect example I have right now is Chris Brown
Right.
and Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
You see him
He choked that
watching.
girl a long time ago.
Yeah, but
Still
look,
talking about that.
he watched his stepfather beat his mother. That's Chris's trauma growing up, watching his stepfather abuse his own mother. So in somewhere, young men, when they see their mothers
Yeah.
take that kind of assault, they assume that must be the right conduct.
Well, let me
Let's say
tell you,
something,
Marcus.
real quick, for the abuser too, for Chris Brown's stepdad. Let me tell you that his mom Joyce must have said it was all right, and you know how she said it was all right? When she didn't leave him.
There
So
it
the
is.
message that he got was,
Right.
"This is expected. My
Right.
behavior is okay." But go ahead, Marcus.
Well, I was just gonna say I saw my mother get beat up. And to this day I won't put my hands on a woman for that reason.
Bless
You
your
know,
heart.
so I used to actually literally as a kid watch this. So when I got the courage, got a little older, I took a bat,
Yeah.
and, I had fun with it. But
Right.
at the same time, I don't feel like any man should, have the audacity to put his hands on a woman, So I think it's just domestic violence, in that sense. Sometimes it's not just the man's fault.
Right.
You have
women.
an issue where you got a lot of women who will actually mock and do whatever they can to get this man to react until he reacts, and then that's when the problem comes.
Right.
So
Right.
maybe that's part of the issue that people go over. They'll say, "Oh, he had this trauma or whatnot," but like I said, I went through that, and I don't hit women, so I don't get at. I don't think that should be an excuse for any man.
No.
But I think it's a time where we need to look at both ways. I mean, in both
Right.
terms,
Right.
sometimes, and not just already have a label for it. And that way it can be dealt with in the right ways, in my opinion.
Well, we should have an O.J. Simpson holiday because of O.J. Simpson, now we talk about it.
Right.
Before
Well,
O.J.
we
Simpson,
do. It's actually in October.
Yeah.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
October. So it's now we're having these conversations. Now there are plenty of agencies, as the one is just named, doing free work. Second Call, we do free work. But prior to that, it was $40-$50. So or $35.
Right.
So people would say after 10 class, I got 52 weeks, and after 10 classes, I'm already out $450. So I'd rather go to jail.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd rather do the
I heard
time
somebody
and,
say
and I don't get the help. So I
Right.
never get to heal. And then my family doesn't get to heal. The children don't heal. And then what's
Right.
that? That cycle of what?
Yes.
Yeah.
One more time.
Trauma.
But what we're doing now as well is we have a teen violence prevention program that we're going to start implementing in the juvenile hall in San Bernardino. And eventually, what our plans for Option House is to take our domestic violence classes into CIW and into our Norco State Prison,
Excuse
hopefully,
me.
Right.
to educate and help really rehabilitate the trauma that's been done.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? We really appreciate that input, and domestic violence is the show unto itself.
Yes, it is.
We
Oh,
really
yeah.
need to have that program and discuss it with women that have been victimized and victimizers. If we have any men or women that are honest enough to say that they played that role, we would like to talk to them.
Well,
Absolutely.
I have a young man who would be honored. He is actually a perpetrator and has graduated from our program. Doesn't mean he's fixed.
Right.
There's years of trauma,
Right.
but it's one step forward to.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey.
Well, the truth. You have to admit the truth in order for the healing to come. So we really thank you for the phone call and
you're
appreciate your
welcome. You're
participation tonight.
What was your name again?
My name is Gloria Amaya.
All right. Thank you, Gloria,
Thank
for
you,
the call.
Gloria.
You're welcome.
All right.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Sister Herron, I wanted to say I had just had a talk with a young lady, and she was so used to being with men that beat her that when she got with a good one, she started making him, the way to start fights with him for him to
Right.
beat her.
Right.
And they don't come out of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They really have to be counseled and you're sick too. Because you laid here and you let this man beat you and you think it's okay. It's not okay.
It's not
That's
okay.
love
And
to most
and they
women.
hide it. And
Turned
these
on.
parents
Yeah.
quit hiding. Sex trafficking comes within the home. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
keep it real. It starts in our homes. So all
How?
you little girls, don't be scared to tell nobody when
Now tell
you
me how.
If
touched.
somebody's
Because,
touching
Skip,
you, that's not supposed
Let me
to.
tell you, you have brothers, older brothers that have brothers that been to the service. They come back gay. Who you think they messing with first? Their brothers. Turn their family out. Then the other brothers, I guess they all sick, so then they out in the street doing the same thing.
Well, it's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. There's no question
And we
about
have
it.
to
And
let
it
these
doesn't
girls
just come
know.
from zero
Right.
to sex trafficked without some trauma
Right.
preceding it. And so we want to be real clear about that because it's all about protecting our children to give them a chance to
Yeah, grow.
get to adulthood
Yeah, let them
and
be
then
able
make
to say,
decisions.
right.
If you want to sell your body, at least
Right.
be 21 to
Thank
make that
you.
decision, not 12.
And not 12 and 13.
There it is.
And
there
then your
it is.
parent know what you're doing and allowing you to be with these people. And then when she get caught up, I don't know nothing about it. Come on now.
But see, the sad thing too, it's not just the 12-year-olds; it's the purchaser.
Right.
Okay, it's the trafficker.
Right.
Okay, it's the target he's looking to pass that 13-year-old girl or boy
And been probably
on
sitting there
to.
watching them grow up.
Okay, because they are males and females
Yes, it
in the
is.
sex trafficking trade now.
So real quick, I'm tell you guys. You remember the young girl who was burnt up by the side of the freeway?
Yeah.
Wright is her last name. Her daddy is a friend of mine in prison. But anyway, one of my community members told me that it could have been her daughter. So her daughter was kidnapped and forced to prostitute for 3 or 4 days. And while she's on the corner, she's crying. And the guy come up, got his little $20 or whatever it costs, I don't know. But he got his money and she get in the car and she crying. He said, "What's wrong with you?" And she say, "I'm forced to do this. I don't want to do this." So he said, "Well, where you live?" He took her home, gave her the money. Said, "Go on home. I don't want to do nothing with you anyway." She go in the house, hug her mama. They lock the door, and she tell her mama what
back
she's
out
been
there.
through. No, the girl who had beat her up and made her do that came and knocked on the door and said, "She owe me $500. She owe me $500 a day. I need my money." So I guess the girl had followed him over there. So the mama is from my neighborhood. Like, Skip, I don't know. Was I supposed to call the homies? Was I supposed to shoot her? She said I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So she said I called the police.
Right.
And she said, do you know that girl stayed outside with her gun and beating on the door until the police came and took her to jail?
Wow.
The girl is in Chowchilla right now doing a 15-year sentence. So this girl wanted that so bad
Yeah.
That money.
that she jeopardized
Her
going
freedom.
to the penitentiary.
Yeah. That's what's so
Phone is
crazy
going-
about
that ain't
it.
my phone.
That's
your
what's
phone.
so crazy
That's that
about
fancy
it is that the women that are involved in this sex trafficking don't see the consequences.
Right.
It's almost like they think they have a free pass, and the guy's a
Right.
pimp, and he's the one that's gonna pay for it. But me, I'm the girl. Ain't nobody gonna bother me. No,
It don't work like that.
it doesn't work like that.
But yet, you were absolutely right. The young girl who was forced to prostitute, now that she's older, she go on her own whenever she feel like it. She's often in Vegas. She's taking pictures, and people are telling me, yeah, she's out there now. So
They think it's a glamour. The young girls think it's a glamour. Oh, I can get me a Benz. I could do this. I could do that. But what about your body? Ain't nobody gonna want you after you all toe up, and your body tells the story.
Well, you know what? Even professional athletes have a lifetime when their career is starting to, and 35 is about it, okay? And, if you ain't done by 40, look, and that sex trafficking, they don't want you when you're 40.
They sure don't.
Okay, see, so we
They
have to
want the
be real
babies.
honest about it. Yeah, they
Yeah.
want
They
the young
all
ones.
of the young girls.
And some of them
And
are
some
pedophiles.
of them are so pretty. I mean, you would not imagine of the prettiest little girls that be out there.
Yeah.
And be sprung over these dudes. They don't even have cars. They on the bus, on the train.
Can't
And that's
even,
your
can't even
pimp.
pay the fare.
What? You know what?
No, seriously.
She needs to pay that fare and go to school, get her
Thank you.
education, give
Yes.
herself a chance. And if she
right.
wants to sell her body, be your own manager.
That's right.
Pay a bodyguard. Don't pay a pimp.
That's
Pay a
right.
bodyguard, okay? That way you're an independent contractor.
Sometimes the
yourself.
dudes is making them think they bodyguards, though.
Well, you know what? The point I'm trying to make, Marcus, is the difference between force and choice.
Yeah.
The rabbi.
The difference between force and choice. See,
He
you
worked
got to
at
stop.
Washington.
No, my grandmother sent this, a picture of the rabbi.
Oh, okay, because
Yeah, 'cause
he taught at Dorsey.
Right.
Wasn't he at? He was at Dorsey.
He was at
He
Dorsey.
was a surfer, and he ran for office.
Yes, he did.
I remember that.
Against Curran Price.
Oh, yeah, it was Senate.
Mm.
It was a Senate, yes.
Inglewood.
Inglewood, yeah.
Yes. That was a mess, and I didn't want to.
But weren't okay? I didn't mean to get off the sex trade, but
That's
weren't
all right.
we being used?
Yes.
Yes, Skip. We was being used and abused. Yeah, because they had a story to come in there and tell us.
They did, and it was so well. We were in the growing stages, trying to find our way, and they were attracted by the appeal of what we were trying to do, and they thought they could find a way to make that help them.
Yeah, and it
That's
did.
what we found out. They were
Right.
there to help themselves and not necessarily us, and we were duped with the excitement that outsiders care,
Yeah,
and
the
they're coming to
rabbi.
You know what?
meeting, and
No, it's what Ortho said.
it's
It's what Ortho
I
said.
should
He
have
said
told
we
Ortho come in here.
we bringing out our best china. Or let me say me. I don't want to say we. I'm bringing out
Me
my
too.
best china. I'm bringing everything because I'm believing in these people. I'm believing yes, they coming to save us.
And was there at a whole bunch of
Yes,
meetings.
and they're going to
I mean,
introduce us
like
to other
foot soldiers.
good white people.
well, you know what? To be honest about that, I didn't think they was coming to save us, but I was hoping we could get some funding.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really
They
what
wasn't
I was
giving us
looking
no
for.
money.
Can you be a funding resource for us? Can
Hey,
you lead
did
us
they
to
ever
funding?
Did they ever give you $5?
No.
No.
Did
No.
they give you $5?
No.
Did
They didn't
buy
give
you a-
anybody
did they buy you a
anything but the
pizza?
blues.
No.
No. And Hot Wings Wednesday, they didn't bring no cake. They didn't bring
They
any
ain't bring
water.
nothing, but
They didn't bring
they
anything.
ate
They
very
ain't bring
good.
nothing to the
They
table.
ate very good.
Well, we
Ate all
had to
the
live and learn. We had to live and learn, and it's we grew this up from the ground.
Yes.
They just kind of came
I did
in and
I just made myself mad.
Don't
What
be
you
mad
told me?
now, Skip.
You say when I feel like that, put on sugar who?
Sugar free.
Yeah, we gotta go. Keep
Yeah.
your head to the sky, y'all.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
find out who sugar free is too.
Oh,
God bless
yeah.
your family. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week.
All right.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.